the warnings ignored. The galaxy was vast, filled with countless civilizations and powerful fleets, yet one small blue world had always been overlooked. Earth, a young planet in a corner of the spiral arm, was seen as nothing more than a primitive place. To Galactic Command, humans were interesting at best, harmless at worst. Reports about them were often buried under endless paperwork. Nobody cared. But then, strange signals began to appear. Deep space probes belonging to the Zorath Empire detected unusual distortions near Earth's orbit. The data showed massive energy spikes, too large for any primitive world to create. Probes captured fragments of transmissions, strange-coded, bursts of sound, like whispers echoing across the void. One of the messages repeated again and again, though no one knew its meaning. "We are ready." The reports reached Galactic Command. In the shining halls of the central station, alien admirals sat around a long table made of silver stone. Star maps floated above them, displaying Earth's system with glowing dots. Captain Relsa, an officer with years of experience, raised her voice. "There is danger here," she warned. "Our probes vanish when they cross into the human system. Signals disappear. Fleets lose contact. Something is hidden around Earth." But the admirals laughed. Their deep voices shook the chamber. One of them leaned back in his chair, his scaled face twisting into a smirk. "Humans? Danger? Captain, you give too much credit to primitives. They still burn fossil fuels and play with rockets. They cannot harm us." Relsa slammed her hand on the table. "You ignore what is in front of you. This is not random. The humans are preparing for something. We must take them seriously before it is too late." Yet her words were ignored. The Council voted, almost without discussion. Earth was not a threat. The fleets had greater enemies to fight, larger empires to watch. Why waste resources on one small planet? But outside those walls in the dark of space, Earth was already watching. High above the planet, satellites that once broadcast television and internet signals had gone silent. Civilian channels were dead. To the galactic observer, it looked like chaos, like a planet falling backward into silence. But it was not chaos. It was strategy. Deep underground, far below the surface, hidden bunkers came alive. Screens glowed with alien maps, showing every movement of Galactic Command. Human generals studied the enemy like hunters watching prey. Every ship, every scout, every careless probe was marked and tracked. In the deserts of Nevada, a massive underground facility hummed quietly. Engineers whispered as they worked around a glowing machine, something alien yet not alien anymore. It had been rebuilt, reprogrammed, and made human. They called it the Gate Core, a device taken from a crashed ship years ago. No one outside. Earth knew it existed. It was the heart of the trap. Meanwhile, Galactic Command still dismissed the warnings. More reports came in. Scouts sent near Earth vanished without a trace. Their signals cut instantly as if swallowed by a shadow. But again, the admirals shook their heads. "Sensor failure," one said. "Pilot error," another replied. "It is only coincidence." Only Captain Relsa refused to let go. She spent sleepless nights reviewing the data, every glitch, every missing ship. The pattern was too perfect. Humans were not weak. They were quiet. And quiet enemies were the most dangerous. One night, staring at the hologram of Earth, she felt a chill run through her body. The planet looked ordinary with its blue oceans and white clouds. But behind that beauty was something else. Something waiting. Back on Earth, the final preparations were being made. Cities glowed as usual. Cars filled the streets. People laughed in cafes and walked under neon lights. To anyone watching, life was normal. But under the surface, the truth was darker. Entire factories had been shifted underground. Orbital platforms, invisible to alien scanners, were hidden in the shadow of the moon. Human warships, silent and cloaked, floated in asteroid belts, waiting like predators in tall grass. The trap was set, and still, the Galactic Command laughed. At the end of the Council's meeting, an admiral declared, "Earth is nothing, a backwater, planet with nothing but loud mouths and primitive weapons. There is no need to waste fleets on them. If they misbehave, one strike will turn them into dust. The chamber filled with laughter. But in her heart, Captain Relsa felt fear. She looked at the star map one last time. Earth's light glowed faintly, steady and cold, and far away inside the underground command bunker, a human general leaned, closer to the glowing screens. His voice was low, calm, and chilling. "Let them come," he whispered. They ignored the warnings. Now they will see. The countdown had already begun. Silent Earth. The fleet moved closer. From a distance, Earth looked peaceful, blue oceans shining under golden sunlight, white clouds drifting lazily. To the galactic scouts, it seemed harmless. But something felt wrong. Usually, a world buzzing with billions of people should have been noisy in the electromagnetic spectrum. Radio signals, television, digital chatter, music, even primitive radar beams. But from Earth came only silence. Not a single broadcast, not a single wave. The scouts reported the silence back to command. At first, the admirals mocked them again. "Perhaps humans have destroyed themselves already," one of them joked. "A fitting end for a species too loud for their own good." But the scouts didn't laugh. They felt something heavy in that silence, like the weight of an unseen storm. The lead scout, Commander Dayran, stared at his screens. No noise, no transmissions, not even civilian waves. It is unnatural. It is as if they want us to think they are gone. His crew grew restless. Sensors picked up ghost readings, small energy pulses that vanished the moment they were locked on. Navigation systems glitched, reporting phantom satellites that disappeared when scanned twice. "It's like chasing shadows," one officer muttered, "but shadows don't erase ships." 2 days later, one of their patrol crafts entered low orbit above Earth. The crew sent back a simple message. "Approaching atmosphere. No resistance detected." That was the last anyone ever heard from them. No distress call, no explosion, no trace. The ship was gone, as if erased from existence. The report reached Captain Relsa, and her heart sank. She had warned them. She had begged the admirals to see reason. And now another crew was lost to the silence of Earth. But the admirals only scoffed. Technical failure. Or perhaps the humans shot it down with one of their old rockets. If so, we will remind them what true power looks like. Relsa clenched her fists. She knew arrogance was blinding them. Something far greater was happening below the surface. On Earth, beneath the calm streets and quiet cities, the hidden war machine pulsed. Deep bunkers stretched like veins under continents, filled with screens, weapons, and soldiers who trained in silence. In one command center, a general stood before his people. His voice was steady, calm, and sharp like steel. "They think our silence is weakness. Let them believe it. The longer they underestimate us, the tighter the noose closes around their necks." Technicians monitored alien fleets in real time. Cloaked satellites invisible to alien scanners tracked every movement. Human submarines buried deep under oceans carried weapons no alien had ever seen. Fusion lances capable of piercing through the strongest hulls. And in orbit, hidden by the shadows of the moon, massive structures floated silently. They looked like dark monoliths blending perfectly into space. They weren't built to be seen. They were built to fire. Meanwhile, alien scouts kept vanishing. Another ship went missing. Then another. The admirals grew annoyed, not afraid. "If humans want to play games, let them," one sneered. "We will send a larger fleet. They cannot hide from us forever." But Relsa couldn't ignore the feeling that Earth wanted them to come. The silence was not weakness, it was bait. Inside a hidden bunker under the Rockies, scientists worked around a device humming with unnatural energy. The gate core glowed like a living star, bending light, bending gravity. One of the engineers whispered, "They still think we are primitive." The general replied coldly, "That is why we will win." Far above Earth, the alien commander Dayran looked down at the silent planet. He felt uneasy. His sensors showed no weapons, No fleets, no defenses. Yet he couldn't shake the thought that he was staring at the calm surface of a deep ocean, with monsters waiting below. Then, in the middle of the silence, a sound broke through. Across every alien comm channel, across encrypted frequencies no human should ever access, a voice whispered. Calm, cold, human. We are here, we are watching, and we are waiting. The alien crews froze. Their screens flickered, systems glitched, and for a single second, every display showed the same image. Earth, glowing red as if alive. The voice fell silent again, and the planet returned to its deadly calm. Back in the council chamber, Relsa rose to her feet. Her words rang like thunder. This is no accident. This is not weakness. Earth is a trap, and you are walking straight into it. But the admirals waved her off once more. Enough, Captain. Tomorrow the fleet moves. Humans will learn what happens when they mock the command. Relsa stared at them, her heart pounding with dread. She wanted to scream. She wanted to stop them. But it was too late. In the darkness of space, Earth waited silently, not prey, not victim, but hunter. The first strike, the fleet arrived. 50 warships, each a floating fortress of steel and plasma, dropped into Earth's orbit. Their hulls glimmered like silver serpents under the sunlight. Alien soldiers stood tall inside their control rooms, proud and arrogant. They had come not to fight a war but to deliver a lesson. At the front of the armada was the dreadnought Tyralos, a ship so massive it could burn continents with a single strike. Commander Vare, its captain, looked down on the silent planet and smirked. End this farce, he ordered. Send a message to the humans, tell them they have one chance to surrender. The message went out. Across every frequency, every channel, Earth was given a warning. Submit or be reduced to ash. But no reply came, only silence. Vare's smirk widened. So be it. Prepare the first strike. On Earth, deep beneath the surface, the hidden command bunkers trembled as alien warships took position. Generals and scientists watched their screens with cold patience. One of the younger officers whispered nervously, "They're charging their main cannons." The old general standing at the center didn't flinch. His eyes remained locked on the alien fleet. Let them fire. High above, Tyralos charged its weapons. A beam of energy brighter than the sun built up at its core. Entire cities below would vanish in fire once it was released. Alien crews cheered as the final charge reached its peak. Fire! Vare shouted. A beam cut through space, tearing toward Earth like a spear of light. But before it could strike the atmosphere, the sky shifted. The blue of Earth's heavens shimmered, rippled, and then cracked open. A massive shield, invisible until that very moment, lit up in blinding arcs of energy. The alien beam struck the barrier and shattered like glass. Shockwaves tore across space. The Tyralos' bridge filled with alarms, panels flickered. "What is this?" shouted one of the officers. "Impossible!" cried another. "No primitive world can generate a planetary shield." Yet there it was, Earth, glowing under a dome of energy so strong that even the might of a dreadnought could not scratch it. Back, in the underground bunker, the general allowed himself the faintest of smiles. "They took the bait," he said quietly. "Now, close the jaws." In orbit, alien ships scrambled to reposition, but then something far worse happened. Gravity shifted. The Tyralos shook violently as if some invisible hand had grabbed it. Crew members slammed into walls. Entire formations twisted out of place. One by one, alien ships found their engines failing, their warp drives shutting down, their navigation spinning in chaos. A terrified officer screamed, "Sir, our drives are disabled!" "We cannot retreat." "How is that possible?" Vare roared. Then a voice cut through every encrypted channel, cold and calm. A human voice. "We warned you." Every alien froze. Their communications, supposedly secure against the entire galaxy, were being hijacked by humans. Screens across all ships flickered. For a moment, every display showed the same image. Earth, surrounded by ghostly rings of light, like a predator baring its teeth. and then Earth struck back. From the shadow of the moon, colossal weapons platforms, uncloaked. Long black structures, silent until now, came alive with glowing veins of power. They fired. Bolts of concentrated energy tore through alien ships before they even raised their shields. One cruiser exploded instantly, its wreckage scattering like sparks across the void. Another ship tried to dodge, but invisible mines hidden in orbit detonated, slicing it apart. Panic spread through the fleet. Shields failing. Engines offline. We're trapped. The aliens who had come to terrify humans were themselves terrified. On Earth, people in the bunkers watched, in silence. No one cheered. No one celebrated. They had prepared for this moment for decades. They knew this was not victory. It was only the beginning. The general spoke again, his voice calm and sharp. Do not destroy them all. Let some survive. They must carry the message back. Up in orbit, Vare's dreadnought shuddered as another human strike slammed against its hull. Sparks flew, consoles exploded, officers screamed. He stared at Earth with wide, disbelieving eyes. They were waiting for us. In the council chambers far away, Relsa received the first frantic transmissions. Images of burning fleets, shattered dreadnoughts, and Earth shining under its impossible shield. Her blood ran cold. She whispered the words no one wanted to hear. They set a trap. And in the heart of Earth's command center, the general leaned closer to the microphone, his voice broadcast into the void, into every alien ship still alive. You thought us prey, but we are the hunters. And this is our territory. The message ended. The silence returned, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The trapped titans, the battlefield above Earth was chaos. Alien warships burned like falling stars, their debris scattering across orbit. What had begun as a demonstration strike had turned into a nightmare. Inside, the dreadnought Tyralos, Commander Vare staggered through the smoke-filled bridge. Screens blinked red, alarms howled, and the ship shook under another unseen blow. They're disabling us one by one, an officer shouted. Our systems don't respond. Vare slammed his fist against the console. Impossible! How can primitives disable technology more advanced than their entire species? But deep down he knew the truth. Earth was not primitive. Earth had been waiting. Far below, in the hidden bunkers carved into the Rocky Mountains, human generals stood calm while the galaxy's most feared fleet crumbled. On glowing screens, the battle unfolded like a game of chess. Sector 5, mines detonate, one operator reported. On cue, 3 alien destroyers exploded, caught in an invisible web of orbital traps. Sector 12, release the anchors, another called. High in orbit, enormous constructs drifted into view. Machines hidden in plain sight, disguised as asteroids. Suddenly, their surfaces unfolded, revealing coils of light. Gravity surged. Alien cruisers screamed as their hulls bent and twisted, crushed by forces they could not escape. A young officer turned to the general, eyes wide with awe. Sir, we're not just fighting them. We're breaking them. The general's voice was steady. No, we are showing them. Every move, every strike is a lesson. When survivors crawl back to their command, they will carry fear with them. Fear of Earth. On board one of the crippled alien ships, Captain Relsa's warnings came alive in real time. She wasn't there to see it, but she could feel it as reports poured into the Galactic Council chamber. Ships gone silent. Commanders begging for reinforcements. An entire armada, powerless. The admirals, once arrogant, sat frozen in disbelief. For the first time, silence filled their council. Not mocking laughter, not easy dismissal, just silence. Relsa whispered to herself, I told you. The silence was never weakness. It was bait. Back above Earth, the trap grew tighter. Human, warships uncloaked, sleek, angular vessels rose from the asteroid belt and from behind the moon's shadow. They were not huge like alien dreadnoughts, but they carried an aura of menace. Their designs were sharp, efficient. Technology stolen from fallen alien probes, rebuilt, and perfected with human creativity. Instead of relying on size, they used precision. One ship, Horizon's Edge, fired a lance of plasma. It cut cleanly through the hull of an alien battleship, slicing it open as if it were made of paper. Another human vessel launched a swarm of drones, tiny, fast, almost invisible. They latched onto alien ships like insects, burrowing into hulls, frying systems from the inside. The aliens tried to fight back. They unleashed waves of energy blasts, filling space with blinding fire. But every shot missed, deflected by decoys or absorbed by Earth's hidden shield network. For every human drone destroyed, 3 more took its place. The aliens were drowning in Earth's trap. Inside Tyralos, panic finally cracked through the crew's discipline. Officers shouted over each other, trying to understand how their superior fleet was losing. We cannot move. We cannot fire. They know every countermeasure. Vare's pride collapsed into horror. He looked at the star map. Every escape route was gone, corridors sealed by mines, ships, or invisible gravity. Wells, we're not fighting a planet, he whispered. We're fighting a fortress. In Earth's command center, scientists continued to monitor the gate core. The alien device pulsed like a heartbeat, stabilizing the invisible web that trapped the fleet. Years of secret experimentation had allowed humans not only to master it but to weaponize it. A scientist turned to the general. The gate core is stable, we could crush them all now. The general's eyes narrowed. No. Let them suffer first. Let them see what it means to underestimate humanity. And suffer they did. Alien soldiers, trained to believe humans were nothing but noisy primitives, now watched their ships burn. They saw comrades vanish into silent explosions. They felt helpless as unseen forces tore their engines apart. Some even began whispering in fear. Are they even human? Or monsters hiding behind human faces? Then, when the fear was thickest, Earth delivered its final lesson. Across every surviving alien ship, their screens blinked and their alarms stopped. For one terrifying moment, everything went quiet. The silence was total. And then in that silence, a single human voice spoke across their systems, calm and steady. You walked into our web. We did not hide from you. We invited you. You thought yourselves hunters. But here in our sky you are prey. The voice paused. The weight of the words sank deep into every alien heart, and then it finished. Run, if you can. The trap was complete, no escape, no victory, only fear. Earth's stand. The void above Earth was no longer a battlefield. It was a graveyard. Alien ships, once symbols of unstoppable power, now drifted in silence, their hulls cracked and burning. Some floated helpless, engines dead. Others spun slowly, broken apart by invisible gravity wells. From the Galactic Command fleet of 50 warships, less than a dozen remained intact. They weren't fighting anymore. They were begging their systems to respond. They were trying, desperately, to survive. On board the dreadnought Tyralos, Commander Vare stared at the ruined horizon of orbit. His crew sat stunned, their arrogance drowned in despair. This was supposed to be a lesson, he whispered. We were supposed to teach them fear, but fear had been reversed. It was not Earth that trembled, it was the fleet of Galactic Command. Far away, the Galactic Council chamber had turned to chaos. Admirals shouted over one another, demanding explanations, demanding reinforcements, demanding sense. This is not possible, one bellowed. No, world can stand against us. But then the broken transmissions poured in, images of exploding dreadnoughts, soldiers screaming as their ships collapsed, silent warnings of cloaked platforms tearing fleets apart. The evidence was undeniable. Earth had not resisted. Earth had trapped them, and Relsa, the captain who had begged them to listen, now stood silent, her eyes fixed on the glowing star map of Earth's system. She didn't gloat. She didn't mock. She only whispered to herself. They knew. All They knew. In the underground bunkers of Earth, the humans were calm. No celebrations, no shouts of victory. Only focus. The general gave his next order, his tone as steady as if commanding a drill. Transmit. A technician pressed a switch. Across the battlefield, every surviving alien ship, crippled, wounded, drifting, suddenly lit with a single broadcast. Even the Galactic Council, thousands of light years away, received the transmission. A human face appeared on their screens. An older man, scarred from battles not of space but of Earth, stood straight and unshaken. His eyes carried no hate, only certainty. This is Earth. The silence that followed was heavier than any weapon. You came to test us. You came to strike fear. You ignored the warnings, and now you see the result. He leaned closer to the camera. His voice dropped lower, colder. You are not the hunters. You are not the rulers. Not here. This is our trap. On the broken bridges of alien ships, soldiers watched in terror. Some lowered their weapons. Some whispered prayers. Others sat frozen, unable to comprehend that their invincible command had been shattered by the very world they mocked. The general's voice continued, "Go, crawl back to your council. Tell them what happened here. Tell them Earth is not weak. Tell them Earth does not kneel." The image flickered, but before it vanished, one final line echoed through every system, burned into every memory. Tell them Earth is waiting. Back. In orbit, the remaining alien ships scrambled to retreat. Engines stuttered, drives failed, but eventually, some limped into hyperspace, fleeing with broken hulls and shattered pride. They carried no trophies, no victories, only fear. Inside the bunker, the lights dimmed. The gate core powered down with a deep, final hum. Engineers slumped in exhaustion, soldiers exhaled quietly, and yet the general remained still, his hands behind his back. A younger officer dared to ask, "Sir, what if they return? With more fleets, with their full strength?" The general's eyes never left the screen showing the stars. His reply was calm, almost chilling. "Then we tighten the net. They don't understand. We never built these defenses to win a battle. We built them to end a war before it starts. If they come again, we won't just defend Earth." He turned, his gaze cold and sharp. "We'll take the fight to them." In the council chamber, silence reigned. No admiral spoke. No one mocked. No one laughed. They all stared at the final transmission, still frozen on their screens. The face of a human. The voice of defiance. The promise of a species that would not bow. One admiral whispered, barely audible, "We should have destroyed them when we had the chance." But Relsa shook her head. "No, that chance never existed. They set the board. We only played the game." The council, for the first time in centuries, tasted fear. And so it began. Earth, once dismissed as primitive, had revealed its truth. It was not prey. It was not a weakling hiding in shadows. Earth was the trap. Earth was the warning. And Earth had just declared its place among the stars. The galaxy would never forget.